Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Kratom Gals, your weekly dose of real talk, real stories, and relentless advocacy. Each week, we dig into the Kratom headlines, we react to videos, and we question the narratives being pushed, especially when they just don't line up with the facts. This isn't about hyper fear, it's about looking at what's actually being said out there, who's saying it, and what the evidence really shows. I'm Madeline Sklar. I'm the host of this live stream series, The Kratom Gals, as well as the Kratom Stories podcast and the Kratom Real Talk community. That's over on the school platform. If you have not been there yet, go sign up. It's free. KratomRealTalk.com, because we have a great little community where we can talk so freely about Kratom without censorship. You know, sometimes on these social media platforms, they don't like us talking about a plant that helps us tremendously. So I've been a daily consumer of Kratom for almost 7 years now, and it's been hands down the best way for me to manage my chronic pain issues, way better than the pharmaceuticals ever did. And that's why one of the reasons why I do this, I want to make sure people know about this plant. And, we're all sharing our own personal experience, our lived experience. And that's so important here. We're not just doing hearsay. We're here to talk about how this affects us. And when we watch these crazy news stories with misinformation, we're able to step in and say, wait a minute, that's not my experience with natural kratom. Also, I want to remind everybody, we do have a weekly newsletter. If you have not joined up, it's free to join. It's over at kratomrealtalk.substack.com. I'll put it up on this. I think it's in the ticker anyway, but I'll put that link up on the screen in just a moment. But we do have our newsletter over on Substack now. So kratomrealtalk.substack.com. And before we get the Kratom Gals up on stage, this live stream is for educational purposes only. We're not giving out medical advice here. We're sharing our personal experiences and advocating for responsible kratom use. All views here that are expressed are our own. There's nobody telling us what to say. We don't operate that way. All right, let's bring up our gals. Hey, gals, how are y'all doing today?
Hi, gals.
Doing great. How are all you doing?
Doing good. I'm just not ready for the snow to hit. If anyone is in the East Coast, we are waiting on it. We are.
And this weather, I hope everybody's safe and stays warm. It seems like a big part of the country is going to get hit with, even where I live in Texas. It's a little concerning. We might have ice tomorrow, and that's not common for us at all.
No,
so,
not at all.
Everybody's been at the store shopping. Every time I go, I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have put off going to the grocery store this week. So of course I had to go when everybody was, worried about, are we going to have, electrical issues here with ice? And so I had to wait in some long lines, but I'm all prepared. I'm ready. Hopefully I'm just glad we could do this, because some of y'all may remember 2 years ago, we had to cancel our Saturday Kratom Gals.
Yeah.
Hurricane come through Houston, and I was without power for 10 days, and it was god awful. And it was like, listen, if I could have, I would have still hosted this show. Believe me, that's how I am. But I was like, okay, I just can't today. And that was really hard for me. That's like the only time like we didn't have it because of weather. I was hoping that we'd all be able to come together today and do this. So I'm glad. It's so good seeing y'all's smiling faces.
Yep. And it shows you with the weather conditions how important it is to have our tea. So we know that whatever is happening out there, that suffering and being in pain and not being able to function through it isn't going to be one of those problems we're going to have.
Yes, that's such a good point. And shout out to Angela's here and Robin and all of our usual Kratom friends that come and hang out with us each week. Stephanie Sue, I'm so glad. It's always good. I know we only get
it's always good to see you.
Like once a month or so, you come visit us, and it's always great having you here. So
well, I love being here. Thank you for having me.
We love it. So. We love it. We always love hearing your thoughts. You've been in the Kratom industry a long time and long-time consumer. And part of like when all the craziness happened in 2016, you're one of those OG. And, we've been meeting some, like Robin Graham is here in the comments, and, some of these OG Kratom advocates. It's just amazing to get connected with. Yeah, it's awesome.
I know on behalf of all of the OGs, I appreciate what you guys do now because although we're not as maybe some of them still are, I'm not as involved in the advocacy as I used to be. But I think there became a point where we were doing it so much that I think we got a little bit burnt out. So you guys kind of helping out and taking over, like, you know, a good majority of it, I think kind of helps us like renew how we're feeling about it and helps us kind of jump back into.
That's awesome to hear. I mean, I didn't know very many of the OG advocates, but I did hear there was a lot of burnout over time, and a lot of people said, yeah, there used to be so many of us, and just not that many anymore. And I was just glad to bring my digital marketing experience and podcasting and live stream and all the skills I have to the
Thank you.
table, because you know when I discovered Kr8tom. I mean, it was truly life-changing for me. It really was, and it's like, I'm not gonna be quiet about this. There's no way. Like, this is too important of something that's gotta be discussed. I even have, maybe I'll play it. I have a video on my YouTube and on my TikTok is, talking about how we need to normalize Kr8tom. We gotta be talking about it. We gotta, you know, I'm gonna play this video 'cause I have a good video about it, but, you know, we just gotta get more people aware
I agree. And I
of
think
it.
I honestly, and we're not saying that it needs to be, you know, everybody needs to love it, but I do think that it should be as normalized as coffee.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I agree
Absolutely.
completely.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this video. I think I've played this before because it's a video I made last year that I've just been repurposing, and you know, in digital marketing terms, it means it's such a good piece of content. I'm just gonna put it back out again because not everybody saw it the first time around. You know, so yeah, I'm gonna play this real quick because this will be a good little. So it definitely matches what we're talking about here at the moment. And by the way, I've got all kinds of interesting stuff for us to watch today. I don't know if everybody's heard yet because I have not heard anybody talking about this yet. It came out yesterday, I think, in the afternoon, so it had already been out. But by the time I found it, there is an almost 3-hour interview. Came out yesterday with Ryan Nidell, who's been here on the live stream with us. Ryan Nidell from Mint 45 and Golden Monk,
Yeah.
big Kr8tom manufacturer and big advocate for natural Kr8tom. So he was on a podcast that got released yesterday with this guy, Julian Dorsey. And we've played some clips from that Julian Dorsey because he's had people on talking about Kr8tom and 708 before. And this guy has like 1 million subscribers. So he had Ryan Nidell on. And last night when I watched the whole thing, I was like, this was so good. I was like, I couldn't stop watching. And so we're going to watch clips from it today. It's so good. I mean, he talks all about the industry. He talks about 708, all kinds of stuff. But when I was watching it last night, it was about, and this is late last night, about 20,000 views. And now this morning it was at 40,000. It's definitely getting out there, and a lot of comments on it. There's a lot more comments on this YouTube video since yesterday, and it's just a real inside look at the Kr8tom industry. You know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's all of that. So I can't wait to show y'all because I was watching this. I'm going, oh, I'm gonna play a clip of that. Oh, I'm gonna play. Oh, I think I'll probably just play this whole 20-minute segment. I mean, there's just so much great info, and I don't know if we'll have time for all of. We're gonna go through. We got some other stuff to watch first, and then we're gonna get to that later. I'm gonna try to play as much as I can of what I've pulled together for clips, but I definitely encourage everybody to go check it out, watch the whole thing. It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Robin, the OG, one of the OG advocates, says it's great to see the folks starting to re-energize now to just get lots more. Absolutely. We're all on the same page. We need lots. You Kr8tom consumers watching, we got to get together. We got to be talking. We need your help.
We can never have too many advocates.
No.
Absolutely. The podcast, if you go, I think it's available in all the audio podcast players, but on YouTube, the guy's name is Julian Dorey, Julian Dorey, Dorey. You go to his YouTube channel, the whole video version's there, is brand new. And then I think it's on iTunes and Spotify and all the others for the audio version, but it's very, very interesting. So, yeah, before we get all that, so I'm gonna play going back to let's normalize Kratom, I'm going to play this clip of mine. And it's over on my YouTube channel. It's also on my TikTok. But this is what we need more people doing, more fellow Kratom consumers doing. We need to start normalizing Kratom out in the real world. So Vanessa says, I put it on my medication list on my online medical chart. So we're talking about Kratom, and I want y'all to know I do this too. Whenever I go to the doctor for anything, I make sure when I list the meds that I take that Kratom is on that list. And on my online medical chart, it says Kratom. I am trying to spark conversation in the medical community. So there's nothing better than going to your doctor, and when the nurse comes in and she's reading off, she's looking at the chart and reading off all the things that you take, and they say Kratom, gives us the opportunity to normalize it. And I love that I always get this chance to say, yeah, Kratom is a plant that I consume like a tea for my chronic pain. I no longer take opioids. I use Kratom. Could you imagine how powerful this would be if more people in our community, your everyday Kratom consumers, started doing this? So I know not everybody's comfortable with it. Look, the first couple of years when I was on my Kratom journey, I wasn't comfortable mentioning it to doctors. But over time, I got comfortable with it. And now I feel I'm 6 years into my Kratom journey. I feel like it's necessary for me to do this, because how else are we going to normalize this plant and educate people, especially medical professionals? So I'm urging all of you Kratom consumers out there, please start doing this. Could you imagine the difference this will make if more of us did this? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. Okay. Now
I
we're going to
love
pump
that.
everybody up with that one.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I send my doctor, if you have a portal, I send him the videos, the scientific information, and things like that. And he's been great with it. So, and my therapist, I really think that is important to make sure it's on our list so they get used to seeing it and not thinking about the bad stories. They think about it and they're hearing about how much better we're doing,
I'll go ahead and be honest as well. So when I decided to use whole leaf Kratom during my pregnancy in I got pregnant in 2017, then I had my son in 2018, and I was very upfront with my doctor about it. Before I got pregnant with my son, I was on 5 different pharmaceuticals that I wasn't necessarily super comfortable taking my entire pregnancy. And I made the very conscious and researched decision to instead use whole leaf Kratom. And I do think that's why my pregnancy was such a good experience. I've only been pregnant twice. I will only ever be pregnant twice. My first pregnancy was very difficult, and I felt like my second pregnancy was so much better because I used whole leaf Kratom.
Excellent.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, definitely.
Real quick, just to let the audience know, we are live on my TikTok as well, which is why I have the way that it is right here. So that's my TikTok handle. They can't see the screen. They're hearing like a behind the scenes look. So if you do see me muted and talking over here, that's what I'm doing. But I am directing them over to the YT channel as well.
Nice. Hi to all of your
Thank
TikTok
you.
friends that are watching over there.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone on TikTok.
We appreciate that. And that video I made that we just watched, I don't want anybody that's uncomfortable feel like they have to go do that. Like I said in that video, like I was telling people I was saying great, but doctors, I was a little nervous about it at first, but then over time I'm like, I just can't be silent. Because I started thinking, what would be the worst thing that would happen? And I live in a very large city, so I know I could just get another doctor. And I know for some people, they're not in that situation. So that could be much harder to go get a new doctor if it was not well received. I've had people tell me that they've talked to their doctor and the doctor said, I'm not going to see you if you use Kratom. I mean, I've heard it all. But for those that feel like you can be comfortable doing it, it's a game changer. I love when their nurse read off my meds and I'm like, let me tell you what Kratom is, because nobody knows what it is. I had one person, there was a doctor's visit I had about a year and a half ago, and when the nurse was in, he knew what it was because he saw Kratom, and so it was like the first time like somebody that actually knew about it that I interacted with in the medical community. I was so excited. So that was really cool. But most times they don't know anything, so I'm using the opportunity to educate them real quick.
No, they don't. And the only time I've had a problem with it was what we've talked about when I went to the dentist. and I had a panic attack and ran out. And when I called to find out and talk to them, they said they dismissed me because I was going to the street for pain medication. So, and they're not allowed to do that as far as I know, and not send you a letter. So I went to the civil, I can never remember the name, but because it's against my civil rights to dismiss me because they think I'm a drug addict or because of my PTSD, either one. I hope I'm using the right words. So if the doctor does do that to you, you have rights there too, people you can contact.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
good to know. I mean, I feel like doctors feel emboldened to do whatever they want, you know? I mean, I didn't get into trouble or do anything wrong yet. I got dropped from pain management because the doctor didn't, you know, they got nervous, they got scared.
Mhm.
They don't wanna prescribe
Same.
the opiates
Mhm.
anymore, especially the patients like
Exactly.
me who were prescribed high doses, but we did the pharmacokinetic test. It shows that I'm a fast processor. So he has documentation, and I thought it was so smart that he did that. So it protects him. But it shows me like, okay, this is why I need so many Oxycontins and Percocets for my chronic pain. But it
And
helps
they
him.
all should do that. All
They
doctors,
all
pain
they all
management doctors.
Mhm.
here's the thing, if I knowing what I know now, if I was in pain management again, now I have mine. He actually did it twice. So I have 2 separate reports a year apart, 2 different laboratories that did them. I have the results. That it once you have that, you're set. You don't have to ever do it again. It's your pharmacokinetics. So I could take that. He even told me I could take that to any doctor because it's about how I process all different types of medications, not just opiates. But since I've talked about this part of my pain management with that story, people said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't. That's what a great idea. I'm going to ask my doctor if they do it." But the thing is, it's like if they don't, just go pay to have it done. It's just a swab of your cheek. That's all. It literally took seconds. They swabbed my cheek and that was it. I've looked into it. It's not. I think it's maybe a few $100 if it's out of pocket. But I would urge a pain management doctor to do it because it protects them because they get audited.
Mhm.
You know,
Yep.
but it's a helpful piece of paper to have. That's for sure.
Very
And
true.
then with ChatGPT nowadays with AI, you can because I remember when I had it done like the first time was 2013, the second time was 2014. They gave me the results. I didn't understand them. There's these pages. I'm like, you know, he had to kind of decipher. But more recently, I put into ChatGPT and it like explains it all to you, so it makes sense. So that's really cool. But it's pharmacokinetic test is what it's called. It detects how your body processes pharmaceuticals. Oh, there was one other comment that came up a little while ago I wanted to make sure we had time for. So Dope Flow, good to see you here. Thanks for joining us. Says latest white MD batch is making me sleepy instead of energy and super strong at 3 grams.
I'd like to help out with that if you don't mind. Just because I've experienced that. So your body goes through a lot of changes. I'm almost certain that it has something to do with like your body chemistry. So, but there was a time where when I first started taking whole leaf kratom, it was strictly whites because that is what gave me, you know, my energy and all that motivation that I was looking for from from something. And so usually what can happen, and this doesn't happen with everybody, but your body will go through changes. So a couple of things may be going on. Either it's really strong and maybe 3 Gs is just a little bit too much and you may want to try cutting that in half. Or if you don't want to cut it in half as your regular dose, maybe take 1.5 Gs at first, wait, you know, maybe like an hour or two, and then take the other 1.5 Gs. So it's either maybe a little bit too strong to where it's to the point where you are getting sleepy, or your body may be going through a body chemistry change where the whites are not affecting you in the same way that they have before. So if breaking it up into smaller doses and spacing those out doesn't help, I would try maybe like a red right now, because where your body is getting sleepy from the white, maybe the red will have the opposite effect.
Great advice.
Very much so, because whites actually often make me tired. So I did start like blending it into a green, but maybe um, well, a quarter of a teaspoon, just a tiny, tiny bit. And it doesn't seem like it makes me as tired, but a half a teaspoon or teaspoon for a serving, yeah, it reversed on me.
It's always interesting when people say they get sleepy or tired with white, because most of us have the opposite effect. But it's interesting how some people get an opposite effect with the colors from
Yep.
others. I always found that.
I wondered if it had to do with ADD or ADHD too, whereas it might have an opposite effect. So a tiny, tiny, minute amount doesn't. I don't really get the energy from it, but it doesn't make me tired. But I can't take it as a like a normal serving dose, because that wouldn't work for me. But it is interesting how we're all different.
It
It
is.
really is.
It's a
And most of,
reminder.
yeah,
that
most of them work for
Exactly.
me. You know, no matter which one I take. There are a couple that are a little bit too fast, but for the most part, I can take all of them. But I still like greens the best.
Me too. Green is me too.
I love, Venus, how you can just take any color. And I remember when I first met you and you told me that, I'm like, oh my God, you're so lucky, because only greens work on me. Whites make me so jittery. It's just awful. I even like, fast forward a few years, and I remember, ordering, how like some companies like to give you free samples, right? And they always like to give you white, because I know that's like the lowest seller out of the, like I always say greens sell the most, and reds and whites. So I remember years later, I get some white. I'm like, I'll just try a little bit. It's years now. Maybe it's not the same experience, even though I
Right.
used it quite a few. Like, I wasn't just once and done. I did it, a handful of times in the beginning. I was like, nope, not for me. So I tried some. I just did like half green and half white. I was like, oh my God, still too jittery. No good.
Right.
Never again. Reds do nothing. The reds just don't do anything. Doesn't help my pain. Doesn't make me sleepy. I'm always jealous when people talk about how they get nice and sleepy. They get the best sleep
Yeah,
of
it's
their life.
never.
Right.
I'm like, where is this great sleep from the red strain? I have experimented. I haven't given up completely, but I have tried some red blends that most of them, like 90% of them, do nothing for me. I'll mix some with my green at night, just, as an experiment. But there is one I've been using where I'll put some in, and I feel like it's a little, not a lot, but I just feel like, it's not hurting anything. It's not making anything worse. So, it's always, here I'm almost 7 years in. I still experiment. I still try new things.
Red doesn't help me in the day, but I will like have a little cup every once in a while on extreme pain days in the evening. But red Thai is the only one that I found that makes me feel like there's any actual pain relieving properties for pain specific. So it's red Thai. And it's been from different two or three different vendors, and it's still red Thai. So
I will
only one.
say I haven't really found very many reds in the past that do much for me either. And honestly, when I first started taking Kratom, reds didn't do anything for me at all. But there was a vendor that I worked for in 2018 that had this strain, and I haven't seen it since, but it was called Red Jungle. If anybody remembers that from like 2018, 2019, if they followed me at that point, but it was called Red Jungle. I took that, and it didn't make me sleepy, but it gave me like the warm, fuzzy feeling. And it was just, it was so good. But I haven't been able to find one like it since. I'm real sad.
Yeah. Aw.
Well, that's awesome, though. Thanks for sharing that. Who knows? Maybe you'll find it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The only thing I have is with reds, I seem to have hot flashes more. I mean, I'm thinking maybe it's because I'm tired. I know it does hormonal things too, but maybe it's because I'm tired, and you have hot flashes when you sleep. I usually do. So I'm thinking that might be it too.
Other people have said that too with reds. So.
And a lot of people think that red is specifically for pain, and it's the go-to for pain. And once again, we're just all so different. It just doesn't relieve enough for me. But the greens do, because I'm getting the pain and I'm getting the little coffee, wakefulness or well-being, whole well-being, rounded well-being feeling. So
that's great.
greens.
And just a reminder, join our school community. I mentioned earlier, I just want to make sure I put it up on the screen. Join us at Kr8tomRealTalk.com. It's our free community over on the school platform where we're there to help educate and just help each other. It's great for people that are new to Kr8tom because like you can come in there and you'll learn so much. I put this together because when I started in 2019, I'd wish there'd been something like this. So when I set this community up for us, I'm like, there's a classroom section. I built it all out. I put so much helpful resources that I've accumulated over the years to help others. And it's also great for those of us that have been consumers a long time because we all jump into if somebody will post a question and ask something, we all jump in and share our thoughts, and it helps everybody. And then we're always adding lots of advocacy information to help people stay on top of what's going on. There's a lot of ban bills that have been coming up. So it's, it's important to stay on top of that.
Very overwhelming.
Liberated Outcast just came into the comments. Good to see you. I just love our community. It's great having you all here. I'm going to play this news story that came out this week. Y'all probably heard about that U.S. chess grandmaster. I mean, I don't keep up with chess all that much, but he had died recently. He was young. And so the toxicology report came back. And so there's been some news stories this week about it. And I'm going to play this because they mentioned Kr8tom. So this is interesting. Let's watch this and we'll discuss.
Tonight, new insight into the mysterious death of American Grandmaster Daniel Kr8tom at the center of a chess scandal and online bullying controversy that captivated the country after he died. A toxicology report obtained by NBC News reveals that the 29-year-old had amphetamine and methamphetamine in his system when he died, though his official cause of death has not been released. Kr8tom also had small amounts of the active ingredients commonly found in Kr8tom.
Both of these substances by themselves are capable of causing significant toxicity and can be dangerous even if just one of them is used. The combination can really be unpredictable.
Kr8tom is an herbal extract sold in smoke shops and gas stations, often marketed for boosting energy, improving mood, and alleviating anxiety. We covered its disturbing rise last year. CDC data from 2023 shows 37 states and Washington, D.C. had 1,151 overdose deaths in which Kr8tom was detected. But Kr8tom's contribution to these deaths is unclear. The FDA warns of serious adverse effects from Kr8tom, such as liver toxicity, seizures, and substance use disorder, and in rare cases, even death. Kr8tom is banned in several states.
At higher doses, it can actually cause opioid-like effects similar to things like heroin or fentanyl.
Kr8tom was known as one of the most influential American chess voices in his short life.
I would love to switch brains with you still for one day. I would be very interested.
I'm very flattered.
Starting as a child prodigy and becoming a grandmaster at just 18 years old. Found dead in his home last October by friends, including a fellow grandmaster, who said he was upset because of a controversy with former chess champion Vladimir Kramnik, who repeatedly accused Kr8tom of cheating without evidence. Many others in the chess world accused Kramnik of bullying Kr8tom.
It's very difficult to separate the horrible news of Danya's passing with the treatment he received from the former world champion, an idol of his.
Last year, the International Chess Federation said it submitted a complaint to see whether or not Kramnik should face disciplinary action or even be banned for his comments. The Federation did not immediately respond when we asked for an update on that review. Kramnik telling NBC News in a statement that Kr8tom's death was a tragedy, adding in part that a, quote, cynical smear campaign was launched unjustly linking me without any factual basis to Daniel's untimely death. Police say they began investigating Kr8tom's death as a possible drug overdose or suicide. NBC News reached out but was not provided with an update in the case of a chess star gone too soon. Stephen Romo, NBC News.
Okay, so
they had to mention the Kr8tom, but
They
it
had
had
to
the
mention-
math. I mean,
I know that
maybe don't mix them up. And
yeah,
meth can be contaminated with anything. The
Right,
likelihood
right.
that the tea would be is like zero, mostly zero. I won't say zero because, you can't make that an absolute, but, we know it's not the tea.
Well, I was especially disturbed by this because that's the same NBC a journalist that came to my home to do my story about Kratom. And
Mm,
he is so well versed on all sides of Kratom. He knew so much. I mean, he spent hours in my home interviewing me. He so knowledgeable. Now I know other people, the big network like that, other people are involved with like what the title and the headline, and I'm sure even the script.
Right.
I was just so disappointed that they had to make such a big deal about Kratom in
mm-hmm.
this when the guy had meth in his
Right.
system.
Mm-hmm.
And other news agencies reported on that guy's toxicology reports, and they didn't say anything about Kratom. Only
Oh,
NBC.
wow.
I'm thinking, what's up with this? So, in my disappointment, mostly because, NBC News that I, spent so much time with them last year.
They should be educated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted. I'm going to show you all what I posted when this came out because I was not very happy about it. I wrote a whole editorial. So I posted this on my X this week that NBC News just released a story about the chess grandmaster's death, where methamphetamines was clearly present, yet Kratom was singled out once again. And so I'll read my commentary because it was really upsetting how much they focused on Kratom with this. I was actually featured in an NBC News story about Kratom last year, so I pay close attention to how these stories are framed. What's frustrating is how often Kratom is highlighted simply because it's detected even when far more dangerous substances are involved. And I'll play the news story I was on last year, but that story, they did my positive experience, even showing me making my Kratom. And the negative side they showed, the guy had all kinds of things in the system. It wasn't like he had just Kratom or one or two. There was like a whole list of things.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's like there are other substances in this person's body that are much more dangerous than natural
Absolutely.
Kratom. And that's incredibly frustrating for us consumers.
Very.
Then I go on to say, I've used natural Kratom daily for nearly 7 years to manage severe chronic pain after being prescribed opiates for years. It's worked better for me than those pharmaceuticals without the negative side effects. Many people rely on it to manage pain or to move away from opiates. Even this report admits, because he says it in the report, admits Kratom's role in this death is unclear, yet is still framed as a central risk.
Yep.
That kind of coverage
Very frustrating.
100%. That kind of coverage shapes public perception and policy. That's why I'm so upset, because that's exactly it. Where do you think these legislators and other media get this perception? It is stories like this. And yes, it was a tragic loss. These are all tragic losses, but the conversation around Kratom deserves accuracy and context. So I was just like, I feel bad for the guy. He had other
Me
stuff in
too.
his system.
That's right.
Right.
I mean,
I wonder if, because you did spend a lot of time with NBC, I wonder if they know, in that studio that it has nothing, the Kratom has nothing to do with it. But does the story, I mean, everyone knows, and I got to be careful with how I word this just because I have TikTok streaming too, but everybody knows that METH is very dangerous, very harmful. That kind of story probably wouldn't get as much attention. And I think
that's right.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's more common, they want the shock out there,
And this is the story that everybody wants to run with, that this is so damaging and people are becoming addicted, and then they need to be referred to clinics for the addiction and then put on Suboxone and all these things. And I am anybody that needs help should always have access to help, but I just think that a lot of this is just made up for a news source.
I'm sure these news organizations, they probably have a list of what are the top keywords that are popular right now on social media. And Kratom, I mean, how come nobody in the media talks about fentanyl? Did people stop dying of fentanyl?
I know. That's crazy. And I think they think that people should know about fentanyl. So if I say my adult child died of fentanyl, it looks worse because they didn't know that Kratom could have done it, or would, which we know it didn't or wouldn't. But everybody should know that fentanyl would do that, and I think
Right.
that's part of it too.
But why does the media not ever talk about fentanyl? When was the last time they talked about fentanyl? It's like everything got shifted with Kratom and especially 7-OH, and it just kind of snowballed. And I'm sure when they go look at the analytics, that's like these keywords always hit. So we're going to keep focusing. I'm sure that's how some of this stuff is done, sadly. And that's why we need more of us speaking out, because we got to conquer that. And these kinds of, that's why we always watch these news stories here each week, because they're incredibly frustrating how they portray Kratom.
Mm-hmm.
And people that don't know anything about Kratom, this
And
is
you shouldn't be mixing all your stuff up anyway.
right. But this is how the public is educated, from stories like this. And so for those that haven't, I'll play mine real quick from last year. NBC, it was just a year ago, last January, NBC crew came to my home, spent hours with me, great interview. And the guy knew lots. He was so prepared. He wasn't even looking at notes. Everything was off the top of his head. I was so impressed. And when this story came out this week, and I heard his voice, he has a very unique voice. Plus, he used to be on our local news years ago, so I already know who he is. And I was just so surprised at how the network wanted to push this. But my story came out officially last March, and it was on NBC Nightly News. It got to be on national. So that's pretty darn cool that they portrayed a positive, even though the whole story is not positive. They show both sides. And they told me from the start they were going to do both sides. But to have something positive on national news.
It was so exciting and amazing.
I mean, Stephanie, you've been around a long time. Does national news ever do anything positive at all about Kratom?
No, that doesn't sell, don't you know?
Right.
No, if it's sold, they might, but that's not interesting to people. They like to demonize things because that's what sells.
When they wanted footage of me making my swamp water Kratom, I'm like, they're not going to put that in there. Because first of all, only a little tiny piece of your interview is going to show up. They showed more of my part in the interview. They actually showed more of me making the swamp water tea than the actual sit down interview with me. It's kind of funny. But yeah, let me play this because some of y'all may not have seen this, but to get national news attention was amazing.
I'll never forget, those words. He's unresponsive,
Nearly 2 years ago, Trish Bisson's son, CJ Hollowak, collapsed at work and died at just 33.
I'm confident that it was Kratom that killed him.
Sold readily at smoke shops, convenience stores, and gas stations, Kratom is derived from a plant from Southeast Asia and often marketed as a supplement to boost energy, manage pain, and even possibly help kick addictions. It can be bought in liquid, tablet, or powder form. Small doses, the DEA says, provide a stimulant effect. High doses, a sedative effect. And it's big business, forecast to be a nearly $16 billion industry by 2032. Bisson says CJ was taking a concentrated liquid form for pain after breaking his arm in 2021.
Did he say it was helping, or what were your thoughts?
He did say it was helping. He wrote in that text, it's helping.
An autopsy found CJ died from cardiac arrest due to mixed drug intoxication, including Kratom. The other substances in his system, Bisson says, were doctor-prescribed medications he'd been taking for years.
We found, I would say, hundreds of empty bottles of Kratom.
She's now suing the maker of the Kratom her son took and pushing for a bill that would prohibit the sale of Kratom in New Jersey, like in these 6 states and Washington, D.C.
Take it off the shelves. It's as simple as that.
But down in Houston, Madeline Scalar credits Kratom with saving her life. She turned to Kratom to deal with chronic back pain after stopping prescription opioids.
I have degenerative disc disease in both my neck and back. Taking high-powered opioids, my pain level on a good day would be a 6. But when I was using Kratom and first got started with it, my pain level seriously goes to 0.
I wouldn't want my kid going into a gas station, picking up a concentrated extract and chugging the whole thing.
Professor Chris McCurdy of the College of Pharmacy at the University of Florida has studied Kratom for years. He says in low doses, it's about as addictive as coffee, but there isn't enough research on these new higher dose products. CDC data from 2023 shows 37 states and Washington, D.C. had 1,151 overdose deaths in which kratom was detected. But kratom's contribution to these deaths is unclear. The FDA doesn't regulate it, but warns the public against the use of kratom for medical treatment.
The products are on the market because they are treated at this time as a food or a dietary ingredient.
The American Kratom Association accuses the FDA of a relentless campaign to keep kratom off the market rather than ensuring consumer safety. The FDA did not respond to our request for comment.
Her having her share her experience with kratom. I met her on TikTok.
Scalar, who hosts a podcast about kratom, says she's far from the only success story, but even she agrees more laws are needed. For Trish Basone,
My son died and he shouldn't have died.
it's just not worth the risk. Stephen Roman, NBC News, Freehold, New Jersey.
So there you go. That's the story on national news.
There was one thing he mentioned that I wanted to touch base on. He said he wouldn't want his kid going into a shop, grabbing a high concentrated extract and chugging the whole thing. Well, newsflash, sir, none of us advocates want that either. Okay.
Right.
We would prefer that
Right.
they research the product and figure out a proper dose, start slow, work your way up. None of us are saying to go in and grab one of those and chug it. It's
Well, and the mom talked about how many bottles she said she found all these empty bottles and that he was using the concentrated extracts. I mean, those are stronger. If you're
Yep.
saving all the bottles, what does that say? I mean, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that ever talk about that kind of behavior are people that said, when I suffer from addiction, that's what I used to do.
Exactly. Yep.
Because when people started talking about stuff I'm like, why would you say, like, I'm like, I'm like, okay, I sorry, I don't understand that world. But, when you have all these people in the kratom community that come from addiction and talk about like, oh yeah, I used to do stuff like that too when I was in active addiction. It's like, well, what was that guy doing with all these extract bottles and saving them? Just not sure I really understand, about that. So, AKA accuses the FDA. Remember, that was before RFK. Yeah. Thank you all for the comments. MJ says Google Gemini is an excellent resource for using CDC. Yep. Utilizing any of the AI tools can be real helpful in deciphering all those documents and understanding all this. And I do the same thing. I research all supplements before I don't even when the doctor prescribes me something, I'm going to go research it. I'm going to make sure I understand, make sure it doesn't interact with anything else I'm taking. I wish more people would have those types of standards, know what you're taking. I don't think that's asking much. That to me, that's being a responsible adult.
I agree. Why not? I mean,
I
if you're going to
agree.
put something in your body, at least read about it first.
Exactly. I mean, Robin says it perfectly. The son needs to be accountable as well for mixing meds and using the concentrated extract. Exactly.
Well, we have to be. We all have to be all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had other news stories, but I mean, I got all this other stuff that's really important I want to play today. So there has been just lots of news around the country with kratom. Like local news organizations have been putting out all kinds of things. Utah, Iowa, a whole bunch of different states. I mean, kratom is seriously under attack all over. So this is the time to speak up, speak out. Go to protectkratom.org. That's with the AKA. Go to Global Kratom Coalition. And then Robin's group, I need to go grab that link. What is that? Botanical... Who remembers there it is, botanicalsae.org. Let me put that on the screen here. Definitely, y'all can sign up to volunteer, to help, to just stay aware. There's so much information there.
And we need all of you. Everybody. It feels like everybody puts their own, we all have something to add to it. And that's what makes it get the momentum going and the excitement. And we did it before. We can do this again.
Yeah, Botanical Advocacy and Education. And it's at botanicalae.org. I'm going to put it up on the screen for y'all.
I'm very excited about that. And they're protected for the protection of all the plants.
Right, but focus on Kratom right now. That's their focus.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All plants. So Botanical Advocacy and Education, botanicalae.org. Did I get all that right? Robin, did I put that? I'm trying to type multitasking seriously, but I'm down for it. I'm good at it. I think I got it right. Let me know if I didn't. But yeah, definitely important to be accountable ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Definitely.
100% agree. And
Always.
that was
They're
something I
looking
had
for
when I got clean, that I hold myself accountable for everything. It's not just this, but just in general.
So proud of you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Angela, I'm glad you
Mhm.
signed up for phone calls and emails through them. That's great. We're trying to, all come together to help each other stay informed. It's incredibly important for us all to stay informed with what's happening around the country. And it's also a good time to really learn more about how does your state work. A lot of states, there's like local communities, but also at the state level. Like I'm in Texas. It was under threat a year ago. It didn't get out. It went through the Senate in Texas, but not the House. It got stalled in a committee and never went further. The way Texas works is the next legislative session will be 2 years later. So we have one more year to go. So next January will be the new session. So most states do they meet every year. So a lot of y'all are just starting over whatever happened last year if it was under attack. Understand what goes on. Go to ChatGPT and ask. Find out how does at the state level, how's the legislative work, how does all that work, and see if it has any information on what's going on with Kratom. And then what's that government website where you can look up, bills and stuff? Isn't there like
Legiscan? Is that what it's called?
Legiscan is one of them.
That's it. Legiscan. Go, there's so much. We all learn from each other with this. Yeah, legiscan.com. You can go and look for it's a tracking site for legislative,
Yep.
all kinds of things, bills and stuff. So you can
And Venus was on it. She was on it before I thought of it. So she was right there. Thank you, Venus.
Bloomington, Illinois ban hearings on Monday. Thank you, Dopeflo, for sharing that. MJ says, anyone living in a legal state wanting a geoscience graduate turned organic farmer to come tend to their land. That's awesome. That's cool. Maybe somebody here. Yeah, Legiscan.
One thing I do want to say though is, we have the power to come together and make sure that even, either we're preventing a ban or we're reversing the ban. That's exactly what we did in Tennessee. In Tennessee, Kratom was banned statewide up until I think it was 2018. And that ban was able to be reversed. And that was the product of advocates coming together and, sharing their stories. And so just know that we have power in numbers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even if you don't live in a state where that's under threat right now or community, you can still email and send in your testimony and share your thoughts on it. It's better if you live in the community, the state or the city or county or whatever. And just like what Dopeflo is saying, you can comment on the Legiscan bills. There's a place to comment on those.
Yeah.
I was just doing some of those the other night. I think it was the Iowa one. Iowa is in the House and Senate. So there's two. Sometimes I know it can get confusing. Sometimes you might see in your state there's two bills. Read through it closely. Send the links to ChatGPT and let it explain to you. But like in Iowa, that is going both on the House and Senate. There's two separate bills. And I don't even know why, because in Texas it was one bill. It started in the Senate, made its way through, then it moved to the House. If it had made its way through, it would have gone to the governor for signing. So I don't understand politics all that much. I was just not understanding that.
I'm learning. But the GKC has that map that has all of them on there. And it's just crazy, the little clusters in different states.
Let me go grab that. I want to show. This is thanks to Robin Graham, who's here in the comments. I did not even know about this resource until she was telling us about it. That this one's even better than the AKA map. the whole legal, regulation map. So let me show you all this because this is phenomenal. Because it's important to be aware of what's going on with this. Where is Kratom legal? Where is it not legal? So if you go to globalkratomcoalition.com, they have a very robust website now. But if you go over to their website, they have this leaf kratom regulation map, and it shows you, like what's legal, where it's not. And then, like, I'm in Texas where it says we have a state KCPA, we have a Kratom Consumer Protection Act. But you can see when you look on the legend here, you see those red, there are some local county bans. And surprisingly, some of these are right outside of where I live. Put my mouse over and it shows me, it's like, I didn't know they were bans in these little small towns that are very close to me. I don't go to any of these towns, but it's like, wow, who knew? So you can see how some of these do have clusters, like, Kratom has been under attack in Mississippi, Illinois, big time. But
And
it's
that's
just,
so scary because they can just arrest you. You're just driving through, stopping to get gas or something,
well,
you know?
it depends on the other thing to keep in mind, though, is that, is it a Schedule 1 ban? Not
Right,
not
or
very many
criminal.
places do that. A lot of them just do, you can't sell or distribute kratom.
Right, or a
It's not always
citation.
it's not always possession. That's why it's important to know, how this affects you and your community where you live. So, and yeah, Robin's right. That map, the map was last updated in November, is what their website had said, but still, it's really helpful stuff. I mean, it would be good for them to update it. So, and yeah, Angela, I didn't know about those 3 small towns in Texas either. Who knew? So,
When you say it was last updated in November, that's November 2025?
yes.
Okay, I'm taking notes right now.
Yeah, because when
on
you're,
my TikTok.
let me bring it back up. When you're at the top of the page, it says right here, info current as of 11/25/25. So, it is subject to change, of course, but still good to know that about all that information. All right, let's get back to some videos because I still have so much to show y'all today. So you may have heard that Utah has been under attack. So Utah was the first state in the country to pass a KCPA, Kratom Consumer Protection Act. Super advocate Laura Romney was there when the governor signed it years ago. This was huge. And now it's under attack. It's under attack. So they've been putting out these advocacy videos that are amazing. I'm going to play 2 of them now. There's right now there's 4 of them. And I'll give y'all the website where you can go. They put together a website. This is a great website. Jot this down. Utah, I'll put it up on the screen. UtahKratomFacts.org.
I'll be honest, I kind of foresaw that coming, although, the Kratom Consumer Protection Act being signed was great. But when I was working for the vendor where I did like wholesale sales, where I was selling to, other states, Utah was one of the harder ones to sell to. And, it's legal there. They had the Kratom Consumer Protection Act, but Utah also has they have stipulations on vendors on what they can sell. So they need to register every single Kratom product that they have available in Utah to sell. And it's not just each Kratom product. I mean, it's literally, say you sell green melee in capsules and powder and red tie in capsules and powder. That's 4 registrations that they need to make and pay for. And it's extremely pricey and they just make it very difficult. And I know that they're trying to be safe, but it's just one of those things where it's like, how
It's overkill.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And with the small companies, they're already paying these other fees and keeping everything safe and regulated and testing their product. And to do that and charge them that much money, it's just too hard on these smaller companies.
Right. Well, in Texas, we have a KCPA, yet a year ago, they brought a ban bill for all Kratoms. They were targeting 708, but the senator even said when he introduced the bill, he says, we just want to ban it all. And I'm like watching this going, but there's a KCPA here. Why aren't they just enforcing? If they were enforcing the KCPA, it wouldn't even be an issue. And so many of us in Texas got really fired up when this happened. We're like, we cannot let this happen. So, like we can be very proactive and be calling the different representatives and senators around the state. A lot of us were doing that last year when this all was happening, but we can continue to do so and keep them aware of what Kratom is and how it helps us, as constituents in their state. So I'm going to play a couple of these Utah videos because they're really great. So there's the first one.
For decades, Senator Orrin Hatch fought to protect the freedom of Americans and Utahns to responsibly use dietary and botanical supplements. Powerful interests and bureaucrats at the FDA pushed to classify all dietary supplements as drugs, a move that would have cost billions, taken years for approval, and effectively eliminated access to natural products that cannot be patented. Senator Hatch exposed the lies and distortions. He understood that the natural ingredients can't be patented, and without patent protection, consumers will lose access altogether. In September 2016, Senator Hatch led the fight to protect consumer access to Kratom, writing to the Drug Enforcement Administration to challenge the FDA's untrue narrative and rush push for scheduling. 2 years later, the HHS Assistant Secretary for Health formally withdrew the recommendation to schedule natural Kratom leaf products, condemning the FDA's approach as filled with embarrassingly poor evidence and data, and a failure to consider overall public health. Today, the FDA itself says it's not focused on natural Kratom leaf products. Yet now, Senator Mike McKell wants to strip Utahns of the very freedom Senator Hatch fought so hard to protect by banning Kratom outright. Senator McKell has reportedly said he represents a client in a private law practice who claims Kratom addiction, and he has promoted the narrative by distorting evidence and data in ways federal health leaders previously condemned.
I'm going to play the next video right after this, and then we'll stop and talk.
Hi, I'm Matt Salmon. I served 4 years in the Arizona State Senate and 10 years in the U.S. House of Representatives. One of the things that I learned very, very clearly was that as a representative of the people, you have a very strong responsibility to listen to all your constituents. That means even the ones that you don't agree with. Your job is to take all of the facts and then make a decision. Unfortunately, State Senator Mike McKell has said that he will not discuss his proposed Kratom ban legislation with the American Kratom Association. I happen to chair the American Kratom Association. I find that very, very disappointing. One of the most important responsibilities of a servant of the people is to hear all of the things on all sides of any given issue, and also to hear all the facts. So far, Senator McKell has been unwilling to meet with the American Kratom Association. I don't believe that's a really responsible way to push legislation forward. It's incredibly important as a representative of the people that you represent the facts as facts and ideas and opinions as opinions. I used to say often, you're entitled to your own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And I'm very, very disappointed that much of the information that has come out from Senator McKell on the Kratom issue is not factual. I have every confidence that the Utah legislature will listen to the facts and make the right decision, because this is going to impact a lot of people's lives one way or the other. And I know that you are going to listen to the science and follow the science, because that's what responsible people do. And I thank you for your time, and I know that you're going to do the right thing.
Like a great video.
They're really well made too.
Yeah,
I
really
liked it
well
a
done.
lot.
Yeah, really well done. When I was in DC last April, a lot of us advocates, Venus was there. A lot of us went to Capitol Hill. AKA was doing like a big thing trying to get some of the industry people and the lobbyists and whatever Kratom consumer advocates wanted to come attend. And so I was able to raise money to go, which was awesome, thanks to this incredible community of ours. And I got to, for some of the meetings we had on Capitol Hill, Matt was with us for some of those with my group. We were in different groups. I wasn't in, like Venus and I were not in the same group, and Christopher, they kind of broke us up into different groups. So in the group I was in, it was the lobbyists, some industry people, and me as the consumer. And Matt's just amazing. He's great guy. And very well liked and respected there in DC. And hanging out with him on Capitol Hill, you get some cool perks since he's a former U.S. rep. Yeah, there was one time I was with him, and we didn't have to go we got to do like a shorter security line because of who he was. I'm like, oh, this is a nice little perk being with the.
That's pretty cool.
All right.
But he was real impressed with me. After one of our sessions, we came out. He was really impressed. But I was, why it's so important for us to consumers to be talking to legislators and their aides about our experience with Kratom. They're going to listen to us more than anybody. They want to hear what we have to say. We're the everyday person, the community member, not the industry person who's there to make money or the lobbyist who's being paid to talk favorably about whatever the issue is. They're always most interested in us. And every time we did these meetings, the person we were there to talk to always took a bit stronger interest every time I opened my mouth and talked. And Venus, I'm sure same thing for you, right? When you
exactly. Same thing. And it helps them think about they're thinking about who in their families they can help, or whether or not they have a chronic pain condition that it would help.
I think they just feel more relatable to that everyday person because that's who they serve.
Right.
We have to remember legislators are in office because of you, whether you voted for them directly or not. Because let's say you didn't vote for the person that's in the office that serves your part of the country. Well, they know that you can vote them out. And actually, one of the coolest things Venus does that she's talked about with us advocates from time to time is how when there's an opponent running where she's at, she goes and starts talking to that opponent.
Yeah.
You blow me away. I think it's such an amazing strategy, but you're just doing this it's not like you're strategizing, right? It's just like,
no.
Oh, this person's running against this person. Let me tell this person about this plant.
Exactly. So that if they get voted in, then they're already educated. And if they don't, they have the education for whatever they're going to do next. So yeah, I really like doing that. And anybody can call their own representatives and set up Zoom meetings with the aides there, and they'll listen to you. You can do it on Zoom, and they like it. They like hearing our stories, and a lot of them do not know what Kratom is.
Right. Exactly. Becca's here with us. Sorry, Becca. It shows you further down on the page here.
Hi, Becca.
I know you and Stephanie. I always think I should have you on screen together a little bit.
My favorite.
Hey, good to see everyone. Hope you guys are having
good to see you.
Day.
Good to see you, Becca. Stephanie, it's always a pleasure having you from time to time. We always miss you, and thank you for bringing your TikTok community over with you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Before I go, I just want to let you know, Taunton Bay was mentioned in the comments. Somebody was like, well, I order from Taunton Bay. I was like, heck yeah, So
awesome.
I'll keep spreading the word.
Thank
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye, TikTok.
Stay warm with the weather.
TikTok.
Bye,
I'll
TikTok.
try.
Oh, that was so great. We miss her. We get her about once a month or so. She'll come.
And I was watching in her TikTok too. So
I love that she does that.
Yeah.
TikTok doesn't like me when I live stream. I always get in trouble every time I live stream and talk about it. As soon as I say Kratom, even if I try to code it and say something else, I always get in trouble. They don't
get
like
that
me.
warning. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think she ever gets in trouble when she does these because she never says it.
No.
How many times did the word Kratom come out while we were live streaming this?
A lot.
Wow. Good to see you, Becca. How are you? Are you staying warm? You're way north. way north.
Yes, and we are dealing with some like insanely cold like winter weather. We're having what you call nor'easters, like the nor'eastern
I've been in them before.
northeastern wind coming down, and it's like 1 degrees out, but like -16 it
Oh
feels
my
like.
gosh.
So yeah, in the next couple of days we're getting some gnarly winter weather.
Wow. We're supposed to too. I mean, I'm way south from y'all, and we're supposed to get ice tomorrow. And it's like, please don't let that. We're not equipped for it here in Houston. Like, we're not equipped for any of this kind of weather. So everybody's been like, going to the grocery store, long lines, and it's been craziness around town because
I was
we
gonna
just
say it must be insane because like down in the Southwest,
Yeah.
you're not used to that kind of stuff.
We're not used to it. We don't know how to prepare for it. It's a mess. And a year ago we had the big snowstorm here. We rarely get snow. We had snow on the ground for like almost a week, I think. That's how long it stayed. Like we had like huge. I was live streaming. I went on my Facebook and because I still gotta walk my dog. My dog, I mean, she's a snow dog. She's a Siberian Husky. It can be 100 degrees outside. It can be below zero. It doesn't matter. She wants her walk. So I'm out there. Doesn't matter what the weather, even if it can be pouring rain. I still got to take her out. So it was snowing a year ago. And I'm like, and we're just not, I didn't even have enough warm clothes to wear for this. And I'm live streaming on my Facebook because I just wanted to document it. I'm like, I want to just have a documentation of this, that I can't believe I'm out in this. There's absolutely nobody outside. Of course not. They wouldn't be. And I'm out there in the middle of the street because there's no cars. There's snow everywhere. It was snowing while I was doing it. We're not equipped for it here. We're not.
What an experience.
And what happens here is because, like, I know in the north and northeast, y'all do your pipes differently than us. Our pipes are not like way down low. Many times they're outside. So it's always worried about pipes freezing and water leaks because of it. It's like a huge problem. And if we get a lot of ice, then the power lines could go out. We had it really bad with that several years ago. Our entire city was without power, and some people for long time. So yeah, we get on edge here between the hurricanes, and now we're always having winter weather problems that we never had before.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is a lot. But y'all are all prepared for this in the Northeast?
Yeah, we're ready.
Because Venus, aren't y'all supposed to get a lot of snow too?
Right?
Yeah, a whole lot. And then it's still supposed to be cold. I think it's in the feet they're talking about. So, but I haven't looked for a while. I've just been listening to people talk about it because I figure until I see it, it's not real yet. So.
That's what I've been trying to do. I've been just saying myself, it's not real until it happens. And we usually don't get ice here because I'm close enough to the Gulf of Mexico. Am I not supposed to say it like that anymore? We're so close to Galveston. This is not a political thing. Anybody turns into a political thing, you're out of here. We're so close to the Gulf is that we usually don't get ice here because it literally stops just like North Houston will get some ice, but I'm right, more on the southern side. So we just don't get it here, but they're talking like we're going to all get it even in Galveston. So I don't know. I'll just wait until it happens. I'm prepared. I've got everything I think I need.
Good.
Yep, I'm prepared. I got food, cookies, milk, eggs. We're good.
Oh, wow.
Cannot go without the cookies.
100%. I made sure I had plenty of sweets because, that's the most important thing. It's funny because of all this impending weather around the country on TikTok in my feed that keeps showing up are these videos people are making of like, if you're without power, like a bunch of these videos where you take the little tea light candles, like the little ones, and you put them all together like in a container, and then you can actually show people making eggs and like putting a pan over it and like making eggs, boiling water so you can make coffee. I'm like, I never thought of that. I mean, who knew? There's like all these like survival things you can do.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It kind of seems like common sense. Once I saw those, I'm like, oh my God, you just get some tea lights and just light them all together and like in a bowl, and you got.
And I think you can use like ceramic pots to like plant potters to do something too.
Some of the videos showed that too, and I'm like, genius. But see, we just don't get that here. So like, I wouldn't even need to have that knowledge.
Right.
But I feel like, wait a minute, why is TikTok? They keep feeding this to me. Maybe like this is like this like fate is coming. I need to be prepared
They knew it was
because I'm like, where do I have tea light? I think I have some. Just in case, right? It's just, oh, and of course, Craig is like, yeah, in California, nice and sunny. Is it nice and sunny for you too, Twinkle?
It is warmer today. I think we're going to be 61 today, but we're nothing like everyone else. I mean, it's colder to me because we're closer to the bay since I moved, and that's coming up on almost a month since I've been here. But compared to everybody else, it's fabulous weather. For me, sometimes it is still cold. So it just depends on what we're used to. And since California is the only place I've ever lived, I don't have any other comparison other than my imagination. And I don't,
Right.
I feel bad for people that are because my daughter's in it. It was only 2 degrees for her the other day in Michigan, and she was actually relocating for herself in major snow. So, my heart is like, ooh, I hope you get through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's a rough move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and good tips about that. Keep your water running and stuff. We do.
Yes.
Definitely, like when the temperatures get down like this.
Yeah,
But
keep the
thank
cabinets
you.
open, all the cabinets open. I got my list of things. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yes, absolutely.
And I would rather lose power in the winter than the summer when we have hurricanes. Because when I was 10 days without power a few summers ago, when it's hot and humid and no electricity, it's the worst. At least with cold weather, that's just, feels a little bit more doable. I'm going to play. So speaking of California, where it's sunny and warmer.
Yes.
There was a hearing this week, Murrieta City, California. And the reason why that one got on my radar, Jordan from New Hope Botanicals, he had posted a TikTok the other day saying that's where his parents live, or it's either they live there or near there or something like that's their community. And his parents also consume natural kratom like he does. And so him and his parents went to speak at the hearing this week. And so thank you to Venus for getting the timestamps for me. So I'm going to play all 3 of their testimonies.
That's awesome.
They're really good. So, and yeah, especially the parents. The parents are first, and I'm just going to let it run because it just does them back to back. And it's just great. And my understanding of Murrieta, Venus, I imagine you know more because you watched the whole thing, right?
Yeah, but I can't remember it right now.
There's too many of them. I don't know how you can keep up at all. But my understanding is it was an ordinance where they were proposing to ban, I think, the sale and distribution of kratom, I believe. But it ended up just being tabled in the end, my understanding, because we don't have time to play, because y'all, I want to get to the Ryan Nidell video. But we're big fans of Jordan Richard at New Hope Botanicals, and he's such an amazing advocate. He's not just in the industry, he's a huge advocate.
Yeah.
And is constant. Like, if you're not following his TikTok, you're missing out. Go to K8tom Ninja, K8tom with an 8, Kr8tom Ninja. Follow him. God, he gives out such helpful info, and he's funny. He's so funny, and he's always doing his dad jokes, which are hilarious.
He is. He's always funny. It just cracks me up.
Yeah, it's never boring when you're watching him. So let me play. I'm going to start with his parents' back-to-back testimony.
Well, first, I thank you for hearing our comments, and I thank you for hearing what you're saying individually and that people have open minds. I've been using Kratom as a supplement for 10 years. I'm 70 years old. I'm a homeowner. I've had issues with anxiety since a kid. I come from a family of 8, 6 older sisters. I think that's where it came from. But when I was about 50, I decided to address the issue. I saw doctors who tried to give me, Wellbutrin, other things, dulled my mind, made me not me. I was introduced to Kratom. This is the amount I take. A half a tablespoon. Been taking it for 10 years. Never changed the dosage. Never felt that I needed more. And it handled my situation. I do not have anxiety. And I owe it to Kratom. I don't owe it to anything else. I use Kratom as a supplement like I do with other supplements I take in the AM. And it works. I just hope, I just like to say quickly, that's a letter. Right now it's not a law, it's a letter. And California is acting out of something other than what the FDA says. FDA says kratom is safe. If you look at what the FDA has said, they've studied it. Scientists and doctors have said kratom is safe. It's not even a question anymore. You see, and 7-OH, completely different. It's almost like you take a bean from coffee and you extract the caffeine and then you make that 100 times. And then you put that into something and give that to someone 100 times. It has nothing to do with coffee. It's the same thing with leaf kratom. Leaf kratom is safe. Leaf kratom has helped people. My anxiety is nothing compared to what you'll hear of people that have lived on opioids because of their problems and what kratom has done for them. I just thank you for keeping an open mind. And I know sometimes pressure from a state like California, which I won't even go into that, is something, but that's not a law right now. And I hope you understand there's a difference between natural leaf kratom and OH, whatever that is, and that there's a big difference, and that you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. It's a big thing for a lot of people. It really is. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wanda Richard.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. My name is Wanda Richard. I am the wife of Art Richard. I just like to share something with you. My son Jordan was a heroin addict. I am retired drug and alcohol counselor. I was devastated to find out about my son and prayed a lot because I wanted my son back. My son, when he was on heroin, his eyes were pitch black. He's not the same kid. And I'm thankful that he found a way to get back to society. And that was kratom. And I'm thankful for kratom. I agree 100% to get rid of the synthetic, but not the leaf. The leaf helped me too, even as a drug counselor, because I saw an alternative. I was put on different medications. I started to lose my memory. I started having liver problems. I stopped all that. I started taking the kratom. I don't have that. So I'm asking you, as my husband asked, please have an open mind, because there's other people that need to have an alternative, not just pharmaceutical pills. We all know, we all hear the commercials about what they do. Now, I agree with you, 21 years old, that's what you should be. You should be an adult, you should have all the facts, and you should be able to have the freedom to choose. So for that, I thank you.
Thank you.
She was great.
Oh, they both were so good.
Hey, both his parents were amazing, but they are kratom consumers. They both consume it too. I love it.
Yes, and I like that they touched on like so many different things and just like got everything in there. That was a really good.
They were great speakers. Yeah, they got everything. I know that's like the hardest thing when you're speaking like it's like you got to be able to get everything out concise. Actually, Jordan's the king of talking fast, because what a lot of people do is they just talk really fast because they usually have a timer as to how long you can talk.
Yeah.
And like you know, you don't want to have any fluff. You don't need to like, hi, you get right into it. You know, you get that in make as much of an impact as quickly as possible, because these kinds of hearings, there's always that limitation. And sometimes they surprise you and cut the time less than what you're prepared for. You know, when we watched the Florida hearing was like, I think it was early last year. And I don't know if y'all remember, but you know, we played it on the live stream here. They had probably hundreds of people all over Florida that showed up at the state capitol to come speak, all these like kava bar owners, kratom consumers. And my friend Abram from Pure Infinity Botanicals was like, yeah, at first we were going to be able to have like, I think he said a 3-minute, it was either a 3-minute or 2-minute testimony time period. So he was prepared with a written testimony that was timed, and a lot of other people were too. But there were so many people that showed up that the person in charge of this session kept changing how much time I changed it to 1 minute. Then in the end, he changed it to like 30 seconds.
Yep.
And would glare at each person as they gave. It was all, I just felt so bad for people that had to go testify there on behalf of their positive experience with Kratom, because we watched it, and the guy in charge, I mean, he seriously had no patience but this is their job. They have to listen to you. Like,
Yep.
you're allowed to go and speak out on anything that's brought up in these legislative sessions. And he just was not liking it, but too bad. But he kept glaring at every single person that spoke out, and he didn't give them hardly any time. And that can like really throw you off. Can you imagine being prepared? And then it's like they keep changing how much time you get.
It's not a place, it's not a place for you to work if you don't like it when people disagree with you, because you have to work with people, you know, like what Matt Salmon said earlier, which I thought was wonderful. Even the ones that you don't agree with, like, you have to work with all of your constituents. So that was a particularly hard meeting for sure.
Dopeflow said they signed up for the phone call for LA County, but didn't get a chance to speak at the. Sometimes there is a time limit. I mean, because they can't have unlimited. Usually, there's not enough people to speak out. So it's actually a good thing when it's so many people. But I think LA County had a lot of attention because that affects millions of people. That's like, when you look at the map of how widespread LA County is, that's a lot of people. But it still would be nice if everybody that wants to speak got a chance to.
Definitely.
And Robin has excellent advice, as I knew she would, being the we'll call her, there's a lot of us super advocates. She's the super duper advocate. Super duper OG advocate. You should always have a 2, a 3, and a 5-minute talk available. That's brilliant. Then then for safety, have a 1 minute. Excellent advice. And you can have ChatGPT help you, or any AI. I tell them that. You actually feed that to them. Tell them that's the prompt right there. I'm going to save that. That's actually a very good prompt to feed into it.
I love ChatGPT. It helps me out on my speeches so much. It's just amazing.
12 million people, LA County. Let that sink in.
Wow.
12 million. When you look at the map, I kept hearing about LA County, but once I saw the map of the whole, I've been to LA plenty of times. It's huge. It's like, wow, it like covers, it's a huge area. So, don't be afraid to use AI to help you with your advocacy. That's some of the business stuff I do, is helping with AI stuff. If anybody here likes AI stuff, come join me. I do a Thursday live stream here on YouTube at Madeline Sklar. And so sometimes Venus and Christopher come, and it's for everybody. But I'm just a real geeky nerd. I love all that stuff. So,
and it really helps with the tools we need to use to advocate.
Yeah. So let me just put this up real quick. So it's just my full name. My social media is just my full name, pretty much, at Madeline Sklar everywhere. But I do this every Thursday afternoon on my YouTube at Madeline Sklar. And I have a school community too. School.com/Madeline Sklar. So anybody that's interested in this stuff, I just love teaching. I always come across all kinds of things. Taught social media for like 20 years. And I just like all the AI stuff, and I keep learning stuff. So I was doing like social media and AI teaching, but now I'm just really focusing more on the AI stuff because I just like all that stuff. I'm always learning, and there's so much it can help you with your advocacy. I'm going to play Jordan's testimony now in California, so y'all can. He's so good at this. He's done so many of these.
Speech impediments of stutter, I apologize. I'm the former heroin addict whose life was saved by Kr8tom. I'm considered a top expert on Kr8tom. That's not self-proclaimed. That would be weird. That's what Google says about me. So, the head of the FDA said that there's a massive difference between Kr8tom and 7-hydroxy. He just said this recently, and also too, the FDA released their first study that Kr8tom appears to be safe. I'm also the author of The Truth About Kr8tom, Life-Saving Plant or Botanical Menace, which is the most downloaded book about Kr8tom ever written. The reason why Kr8tom is still legal in the United States is actually because of the former head of HHS, Dr. Kr8tom. Back in 2016, the former head of the FDA, who did not like Kr8tom, he said that you guys need to ban this, and he said due to poor evidence and data that they refused. Dr. Kr8tom said the only public health threat that Kr8tom posed was if it were to be banned because people go back to deadly known opioids. Yes, Kr8tom can cause dependency in some people, but according to Johns Hopkins, it's less than 10% of people, and it's typically mild to moderate. It's not like severe like you would see with 7-hydroxy. Also, too, it's important to say that Johns Hopkins has released multiple studies that Kr8tom is 1,000 times safer than traditional opioids. And I think that is something that is crucial for people to understand. I've been to Indonesia before in these villages. I'm actually doing a film on documentary right now about Kr8tom. And I've talked to people that were using Kr8tom since they were 17 years old, now in their 60s, that look better than most Americans do here when they're 40. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And also the Narcotics Board was saying to, because he's actually one of my friends, the guys that sent you the letter, he was saying to ban 7-hydroxy, but to regulate normal Kr8tom. And that's what the city of Huntington Beach did. That's what the city of Riverside did. That's what pretty much every city besides 2 have done. They regulated Kr8tom in its natural form, but they banned the synthetics basically. 7-hydroxy can cause respiratory depression. Kr8tom can't. Kr8tom has been scientifically proven not to activate the restin 2 beta pathway, which is what causes respiratory depression from opioids. This is all scientific. There's over 450 published studies on Kr8tom since 2018, and I've kind of a nerd. I've read every single one of them. That's how I got my book done. But I work directly with Johns Hopkins. I work directly with people from the FDA. If Kr8tom were to be banned, that would not be good for the people of Marietta. But if you want to protect your citizens, 100%, you should ban 7-hydroxy. Also, Bill 1088 was not to ban normal Kr8tom. It's to ban 7-hydroxy, but to regulate normal Kr8tom. Also, to Senate Bill SB 775 just came out too, again, which is regulating normal Kr8tom, but banning 7-hydroxy. So these are 2 massive things. You're comparing coffee to crack, basically. So thank you. Thank you.
He's just amazing.
Sorry, my mic was off. Follow Jordan. He's awesome. I just had his thing. I'll put it back up real quick. Go on TikTok at Kr8tom Ninja, spelling Kr8tom with an 8. Because on TikTok, we can't spell it the normal way. We get in trouble. So many of us use the number 8. I love his TikToks.
K word.
But boy, can he spit out a great testimony in such a short period of time. He's done it so many times. It feels like he's got it all memorized now. It just flows so well out of him.
Yes, and with his like musical background, like he can be a little bit more organized and stuff. And I just liked how balanced once again, like his parents and him, they were all very balanced in their testimony.
Yeah, Dope Flow makes such a great point about how Jordan was giving those, talking about nearby counties. That was so smart, doing those examples.
Yes, definitely. Because, we do look like in other things, like they look to like other like local cities and states and counties and stuff. And yeah, that's a really good point. We should include that more in our testimony.
Yeah, I thought that was really smart. I was hoping to do more of this. I might have to just kind of do some of this now and some next week. But Ryan Nidell, I talked about at the start of this discussion an hour and a half ago when we first went live. So Ryan Nidell, who's the CEO of Diversified Botanics. So that's MIT 45, which are extracts, and then Golden Monk, which is natural Kr8tom powder. huge company. So he was on a big podcast that came out yesterday. And it's the Julian Dory podcast. I don't really know this guy, Julian Dory, but he has 1 million subscribers just on YouTube. And I know it's like a podcast that's everywhere, like Apple, Spotify, and all the places. So Ryan was interviewed, and these long form podcasts are real popular now, like think Joe Rogan and stuff like that. This interview is 2 hours and 49 minutes. And I discovered it last night, and I ended up watching the whole thing because it was so good. I couldn't stop. And I'm like, oh, I got to play some clips from this. I definitely urge everybody to watch the whole thing. It's good. But I'm going to just play just some various clips. And some are short and some are long. So we'll just see how far we get. Because Ryan is so smart. We've had him here on the Kratom Gals a while back. Some of y'all might remember he came on because there's been the big debate about natural kratom versus 7-OH, and his stance has been 7-O's got to go, and he's been very vocal about it. And then that whole incident happened at Champs in Vegas last year where there was that protest against 7-OH. Do y'all remember? Like there were actually people out with signs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
But somebody did some research and said, wait a minute, there was a Craig's ad on to get people to come do this and get paid.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there was just all this speculation and like what's going on. I thought it was a real protest because video was sent to me from somebody there, and he did not know about the Craig's ad thing. And so I put it up on my social because it all seemed like, wow, there's actually people. But here's what he told. This was a friend of mine that was there on the ground and took video that allowed me to post it on his behalf. He said he talked to somebody because he thought at first like, well, this is kind of weird. Really just all these people showing up at Champs to protest. He talked to some people, and some people like said, yeah, like they knew what 7-O was, and that. But it did come to light, turned out that somebody did do a Craig's ad, right? Was it Craigslist? What's it called?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
An ad on Craigslist. I can't even say it right. So it did turn out somebody did do an ad on Craigslist, and it turned out it was Ryan Nidell. So he made this video kind of like this, I guess, kind of like this apology and why he did what he did and his stance on all of this. And we played that video here too. We had him come on and talk about it. I don't remember. I'll have to go find the date. But anyway, I just remember our interaction with him live with us when we interviewed him a bit about all of that stuff. And he is very smart. And he's such a great speaker. And so I just started watching this interview last night, and he's fascinating. He has so much knowledge about the kratom industry. He's been in it for quite a while. And he just like divulges all kinds of stuff in this. So I'm going to first play the very clickbait worthy intro, because these kinds of podcasts, they got to have the whole, let's draw them in with some crazy thing at the beginning. And this is real crazy at the beginning. So I'm going to play this part. And I'll have the link to this and all the other videos we watched over at my YouTube channel a little later in the descriptions. Just check back later and I'll update it with all of these. So let me just start with this intro.
There's a lot of fucked up stuff that goes on in the world. From the first time I went to DC, one of the people said, I think you're being followed. What are you talking about? Nobody's following me. The lobbyist team calls me and says, no, we know you're being followed. We kind of have a sense of who it is. We were taking pictures, running through some intelligence, and it's the Sinaloan cartel.
Following you?
Yes. You mean to tell me the cartel's involved in this somehow? I'm out and about in the world. I see an individual walks past me and says, have fun in DC tomorrow. I don't think you should go. Now, no one knows I'm going to DC, but what has ended up happening is when you have an industry that went from $0 to $9 billion in 18 months, and you have this that you're not going to overdose on, is hyper addictive. You've now built a customer for life. Anytime you have a chance to impact people's pocketbooks significantly, some people might not want that to happen. Like, I didn't sign up for all this shit because what we built is way bigger than something that's just about kratom. The transparency. I just chose the hardest industry in the world to do it. I originally think it was just a cartel, just a Sinaloan cartel. Just when you start to look at it,
it's like, whoa. I was like, what the heck? Wow. So Of course, that part of that conversation to learn all the stuff he goes into is way later in there. But if you go into the description on YouTube for this interview, they do have timestamps of everything, because I don't know if everybody wants to go listen to the whole thing. It is fascinating though. But I'm just going to go through. So I mean, we're definitely probably not going to have time to get to all that crazy stuff. I don't know. I just want to play just some interesting things, starting with, early on, and I'm just going to progress down. Does anybody have any questions first? I mean, y'all remember who Ryan is, right? Remember when we had him on here?
Yeah. Yep. I remember.
Real smart guy. That was my takeaway with him. I thought he was really smart. And he has like a big business background.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching his videos when he's talking about the advocating and the different things like that. So I'm interested to see this.
Yeah. All right. Let me play some clips. Let me start with the first one.
Was. It's crazy.
Yeah, what is crazy? So you can explain to people, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
So kratom is this incredibly polarizing plant. Most people, when you say kratom, they conjure up thoughts of cannabis and CBD, and it's really pretty far away from that. Kratom is a tree that grows in Indonesia and Thailand specifically, right? Southeast Asia. And it's a physical tree. It takes 4 to 5 years to grow to maturation.
Is this like in the rainforest, like that kind of tree, or?
It's almost more in like the swampy marsh type of area, right? So there's a little 250 acre plot of land in Florida that's starting to grow some kratom, but it's one of those things of you have to be committed to it because it's 5 years.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to kind of grow a kratom tree.
That's a big commitment.
It's a commitment because there's no yield for 5 years. And so these leaves on a tree, they have a very low melt point. So you can't smoke them. When you manufacture product, you can't heat it up too much or you break down anything that's good in it. So it's a complicated plant into itself.
Whoa.
And so the first stated consumption of kratom that we can find is like 1880, where farmers in Indonesia would leave their house, would grab a couple leaves off a tree, and they would just chew it throughout the day.
Has anybody heard about 1880? Like I learned a lot of new things watching this, but I've never heard like an exact year like that or a range. It's always like a few, like some people say hundreds of years or thousands of years or something, but 1880, he had a specific date.
Right.
Yes, and that's because of the researcher, like the guy that they named.
Right.
After he was, I believe he was researching the plant at that time.
So that's where that date comes from, because the whole name, the Mitragynous speciosa, means the bishop hat because of the shape of the leaf.
Named by, I believe his name was Kr8tom.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
It was coming to me because, okay, so while the Kratom Stories podcast has been a little bit of a hiatus, I've still been interviewing people, but after losing the YouTube channel, this is our new YouTube channel, but after losing the channel last month, I was kind of like, all right, let me just kind of take a little break on this and regroup. And we're not just on the YouTube for the podcast, but it was a big hit because I spent a lot of time building up the YouTube channel we had before. But once the podcast restarts our next season, the next interview is with this actor Nico Tortorella, who's developed the very first Kratom beer. There's Kratom seltzers. He's created the first Kratom beer. There's no Kratom beer on the market, like an actual Kratom beer. And I don't think I have one. Actually, I have the package. Hold on. And so what's interesting, let me see, I don't know if it's on the box. Okay, it is. Okay. Because on the can, it's also at the bottom of the box. It says a social beverage by Kr8tom. Hold on, let me take this off screen so y'all can see this better. Okay. So this is just the bottom of the box, but you can see, it's kind of blurry. But it says Kr8tom's collection with this little drawing of Nico. And I said, what's Kr8tom's collection mean? So he teamed up with CBD Kratom to make this let's not do too much brand stuff because I think that's what YouTube doesn't like. Anyway, the guy that discovered Kratom that we're talking about, that was his name, is Kr8tom's. I think that's the last name. Is that right, Becca? That's the guy's last name, Kr8tom's?
I love that. That's so
I
cool.
used to know this off the top of my head, and I'm just totally spacing it right now. But yeah, he was an herbal researcher.
And did he discover it in Indonesia, right? It's like he discovered it while he was over there.
Yes, Indonesia or Thailand.
Robin says that's why it's also called Korth. Good to know.
Yes, yep, because it's Mitragyna speciosa Korth is the full name.
But I just was so interested when he said it goes all the way back to 1880.
Yeah, kratom. It says on Google that kratom was discovered by the Western world in 1831 when the Dutch botanist Peter Willem Korthals documented the plant.
Interesting. So yeah, Korthals. So CBD kratom is the one that teamed up. Like Nico Tortorella had the idea for the kratom beer. He teamed up with CBD kratom, and he told me, because this will all come out when the interview comes out, the CBD kratom company, their natural kratom powder brand is called Korthals Collection, and he says so that's why they wanted to keep that same name. So it's Der Beer, which is the name Nico came up with, but it's under their Korthals Collection. And I love how it ties into that botanist. I think that's just so cool. It's like this full circle thing. But what makes this interview interesting with Ryan Nidell is just these facts he throws out. So I just wanted to stop from him because, like, wow, you just don't hear 1880 thrown out. I don't know. I never hear people give a specific date. I just found it interesting. But let me keep going. Now, because there's so many really interesting clips, let me just explain how I'm going to do this. I'm just going to kind of stop in some places and go to the next section because I just found so many cool little pieces for those that don't have time or don't really want to watch the whole thing. I feel like I'm just kind of giving you the best stuff, but I have to kind of keep an eye on where we're at on here so I can make sure. So I'm just going to start where we were at, and then I just got to keep an eye out so I know when to move to the next one.
And what would it do for him?
So they would state that it was energy, focus, mental clarity. It's almost like we would call probably nootropic now. Now, I'm not professing for it to be nootropic, but that's kind of the anecdotal statements that they would have had back then. But then when they would get home from a long day on a farm, their family would have also grabbed leaves off a tree and steeped it into a tea. And from steeping it into tea, really low heat point, have it almost like a social elixir, like a bonding tonic. So you come back from a hard day of work, you'd have a meal with your family, and everybody would sip this kratom tea, and they found it to be relaxing and sedative and analgesic and bonding. And so it's the same leaf, but when you consume it one way, it's energy, focus, and clarity. When you consume another way, it's relaxing, sedative, and analgesic.
All right, quick question.
All right, now I'm going to go to the next spot. I just have to kind of keep an eye out. That's why you might see me in the YouTube video itself with the timestamp popping up, because it would take way too long for us to go through all of this. I just want to just kind of give you all the best of. And because this is so long, it won't let me put the mouse right at the exact part. It just puts me close to it. So just kind of bear with it if it all of a sudden picks up in a weird spot. It might just be a few seconds before it gets to the part I want.
Kratom on the FDA's radar of saying, what is it? What's really going on? So the FDA at that point, Scott Gottlieb was ahead of the FDA and said, we got to ban this stuff. This has got to be a Schedule 1, because back then they would have said kratom had 46 different components. Now we know it has 52. So the science is emerging on it.
What do you mean components?
So they're called alkaloids, subalkaloids, or metabolites, kind of the atomic structure of what's in the kratom.
But again, he's given us these facts, 52. There's 52 of them. Did we know that too? I mean, you don't always give, usually I thought they say 40 something. Didn't McCurdy usually say in the 40 range?
I think Jordan actually told, I thought it was 52. I know at one time it was 48 or 49, but I think Jordan was the source. Could be somebody else, but I'm thinking it would have been Jordan that has said it was up to 52.
Because like Ryan's saying, that science keeps emerging, and they're learning more and more through the research, which is fascinating. But this is the kind of things he throws out, all these just tidbits of information and inside stories.
Kratom leaf.
Okay.
And so each of those 52 different components, alkaloids, subalkaloids, metabolites, they all have their own unique mechanism of action on the human body. 2 of those are partial mu opioid agonist inside your body.
Oh, I know what that means.
Yep, partial.
Okay.
So we'll get into a whole thing on this stuff. And so the
Like
FDA,
just the tip.
just the tip for
Okay.
right now. Got to leave a little. Got to keep people, excited.
Yeah,
Here-
get a
here's
little
coming.
heroin, not all of it.
Correct.
Okay.
Just a little tap. So what ends up happening is the FDA sees that and says, shit, we got to schedule this stuff. They get the DEA riled up. They said, this is absolutely the next heroin. We got to stop this. So 2016, I think either Q3 or early Q4 2016, the FDA and DEA said, we're going to this is going to be a Schedule 1. Come out, the whole industry themselves. Like, oh, well, it's all gone. And because these individuals were used to the spice world, used to the bath salt world, it was just another money-making hustle to make a bunch of cash, knowing it was going to be short-term. It's a story I'll tell myself. I wasn't involved in the industry then, but it kind of maps out that way. Well, and one of the only times we can find, the DEA started by saying, yep, it's going to be a Schedule 1. But by early 2017, the DEA pulled back and said, there's actually not enough evidence to show this is really an opioid.
Because this is how it got on the radar in the first place. It's something that doesn't have to do with the actual drug itself, the salmonella.
Correct.
Yeah, by the way, we pulled this up just so people can get context on what you were already talking about. But this is from archive.cdc.gov. As of April 5th, 2018, a total of 132 people infected with outbreak strains of salmonella have been reported from 38 states. And since then, there's been another 45 more ill people from 19 states. But they said that, is there anything? Oh, yeah, there it is. Whole genome sequencing analysis did not identify any predicted antibiotic resistance in isolates from 60 ill people and 3 Kr8tom samples. Testing of 8 clinical isolates using standard antibiotic susceptibility testing methods by CDC something laboratory also did not show any resistance. 73% of 78 people interviewed reported consuming Kr8tom in pills, powder, or tea. There it is. Most people report consuming the powder form of Kr8tom. So they're like snorting it?
No, it's capsule. They drink it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a really like airy powder. Like our production
I
facility,
wasn't
there's
expecting that.
air all the time. Like we operate in what's called an ISO 7 compliant facility with HEPA filters and all this stuff because it's really light. And so when you grind it up into the capsule based form or the powder based form, I guess someone maybe could snort it, but I don't know how. I've never considered that mechanism of consumption. But people
I'm not going to try it.
People do some crazy, so they could.
Yeah.
So in our business at that point, the 2 founding partners said, well, we don't want to go to prison. We're going to destroy all of our product. So they took it up to North Salt Lake, incinerated it all, about $1 million worth of product.
Wait, your guys did?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
They
because
had a firebomb session on the lake. Love that.
Yeah, of course.
Good for them.
Well, because it was going to be a Schedule 1.
Yeah.
Like you're in possession of it. That's no different than being in possession of heroin at that point.
But isn't there like a rule that like if you brought it in legally and now they declare it that way, you just like, I don't know, call the hotline and say, by the way, I have this, I had it legally. So what do you want me to do with it?
Yep. I believe that to be true. The legal team that they had at that point recommended they just go ahead and incinerate it just preemptively. Again, before my time.
Who was it? Saul Goodman? Take it up there, burn it.
I think that's how it feels to me a lot. But again, I need to make certain that that contextually some of this could be a little bit wrong because I wasn't around at this point. And so what ends up happening is the DA then reverses that ruling. They say there's not enough evidence to call it a Schedule 1. And so the partner's saying, holy, we built this business.
Oh my God.
We just incinerated $1 million worth of product. What do we do?
That's a tough day.
It is a tough day. So Sean, the second founding partner, ended up taking a double mortgage on his house.
Oh my God.
Borrowed, I think it's 60 or 80 grand against his house value and brought in just enough to keep the ball bouncing, like just enough. But it was just powders and capsules. So a true commodity, right? There's nothing unique to it. Because think about it, inside the cannabis world, the way I view it, you can manufacture strands, you can do some crossbreeding, you can do all types of stuff. And I'm not a cannabis guy. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But because these trees take 5 years, there's no hybrids, there's no crossbreeding. Like these are trees that have been in Indonesia and Thailand for hundreds of years.
Right. Now, did Sean, because obviously you have this whip-a-roll that happens where it's like, oh, we're Schedule 1 and oh, we're not doing that. It's legal again.
Yep.
But the whole thing is born out of this is a very new thing. this was something that we didn't have a ton of research on or whatever. And obviously people try to start businesses or whatever. But after this back and forth happens, I understand, like, you know, Sean has a mortgage to pay and stuff like that. But are there questions of like saying, okay, maybe it's not a Schedule 1 right now, but maybe we're going to find out something later that could make it that, or that this is not going to be helpful for people? How did he reconcile that?
100%. So Sean and Dalton owned a business that was some sort of nutritional supplement or dietary ingredient, 2010, 2011, 2012.
Okay.
And it was in Huntington Beach, California, where they were operating. And they had Thai workers that were helping them pack out packaging. Yeah, it's awesome. And so
it's awesome.
The business is in the process of either shutting down or retooling. And Sean and Dalton are physically packing orders to ship out. And Sean's complaining how his back hurts, how he's tired. And one of the Thai workers says, Mr. Sean, try some of this. And it's 4 or 5 capsules of Kr8tom now, but at that point, just 4 or 5 green capsules. He's like, I'm not taking that shit. What is it? Kr8tom. He goes, I'm not going to get high. That's not what I do. No, it's good for you. It's good. We end up taking it. And 45 minutes later, as he would tell the story, no back pain, tons of energy, tons of focus. He goes, why isn't everybody selling this? It actually works. And so that's what started at that point. SSV, or the first iteration of our company, was anecdotal. This makes me feel great. I'm not noticing the back pain.
I mean, they might have said that.
Isn't that wild? These stories he's sharing, I'm gonna stop there for a moment. Is incredible. Like you can see why I watched the whole thing. We're just going through the progression. Like I'm watching, so I'm like, well, we'll see how this goes. And it's like these stories are incredible.
It's so hard to pick and choose which ones like that when there are shows like that too.
Yeah, that's why I kind of basically made a best of for us to watch.
Yeah,
so
a rare look behind the curtain, if you will.
Well, yeah, he's been the CEO of Diversified Botanics for years now. But like he's telling the story of how the company came about and those crazy stories, you know, before his time, because they've been around a while, apparently.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the OG companies. So I'm gonna play another section of it's fun watching it because it's just he's sharing like interesting stories and just like being honest and open about all different kinds of things. So here's
to bring it back to that part of the conversation. When you get to the backside of the FDA still pushing the scheduling, the industry pivots and says there's a called a march on Capitol Hill, because you have first responders, armed services that go to DC when the scheduling is supposed to happen and say, hold on a second, this is allowing us to function because it's not an opioid, it's not triggering drug tests, but from jumping out of airplanes and helicopters, I don't have back pain, so I'm not prescribed opioids, so I can still function inside the military. I'm not pissing dirty. Don't take this away. This is my livelihood. And you can see 2017, the industry shifts and starts calling this a replacement for opioids.
Kr8tom.
Now it's not, and I'll get into all the reasons why it's not.
Let's start there, actually. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Like why it's not? That's a good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe the industry adapted as it needed to in that moment in time to protect the industry. It's really challenging me, no matter what the political climate is, to shit on veterans and first responders.
Yes.
Like that's a protected group of people, whether you like what they stand for or not. When they march and say, this is helping us, it's really fucking tough to get everybody to say, oh, we're going to take it away from you.
Yeah.
And so the industry says at that point, oh, this is awesome. We found our silver bullet to stay alive. This is a replacement for opioids. Now, up until that point, I don't see any data that I can find online where someone was saying this is a replacement for opioids, because when you look at the mechanism of action, right? And I didn't know any of this stuff before getting in this industry. You have 3 different types of opioid receptors in your body. They all do different things for different reasons. You take something like an Oxycontin or Percocet. That is a 100% agonist to your mu opioid receptor. Think of a lock and key.
Okay.
Your mu opioid receptor is the lock. Oxycontin's the key. It fits in exactly. And it's like an old lock. So when it goes in, it sticks. It's not going to fall out.
Yeah.
That is, to me, 100% agonistic relationship. What we found with Kr8tom is it is a partial mu opioid agonist. So same lock and key kind of mechanism, but imagine the lock's a little worn out and it's got a bunch of WD-40 in it. So the key slides in, but it falls right out. Slides in, falls out. Slides in, falls out. Then we start to dissect the 52 components of kratom, those alkaloids, subalkaloids, all these fancy terms nobody cares about. 52 things inside of kratom, and we realize out of those 52, 2 of them impact the mu opioid receptor. The rest don't really.
So what does that mean?
It means there is by weight, there's something called mitragynine. Some might call it mitragynine, depends on where you're from. That is 60% of the weight by volume of a kratom leaf. That's the alkaloid. That alkaloid is a incredible partial mu opioid agonist. It's easy to compare it to morphine because morphine is kind of like the gold standard in the pharmaceutical industry for an opioid agonist. Mitragynine itself, and I could be a little off on this, I think it's a 20th as potent as morphine. So 1/20th.
How do you spell mitragonous?
Mitragynine. It's close. It's all the same. Man, people bastardize it. I'm probably bastardizing it. You know, I'm going to have people commenting that you're not saying it the right way.
All right. What did you say? 1/20th the potency of opium?
Of morphine.
Morphine.
Yep.
Morphine's some strong shit, bro.
It is. It is.
All right. It says it's a major. Wait, mitragynine is a major metabolite.
Metabolite.
Metabolite. 7-hydroxymitragynine 7-OH is generally considered to be significantly more potent than morphine. So this is 7-OH. That's not what you're talking about.
It's not. And this is where the whole confusion happens in our industry, is this exact thing.
Okay. So Google AI. Bad.
Well, it's confusing as shit because you hear mitragynine and then there's this other thing called 7-hydroxymitragynine.
Yes.
Those are 2 different things.
All right. Before you explain that, I also want to say, because this was part of my conversation with Rocco, especially when I'm going to go to talk to someone who deals in something I know fucking nothing about, like kratom or whatever. Some of that stuff makes me nervous because I'm like, what is this? What does it mean? What's the business behind it? Is this going to be something really bad in a few years?
Yeah.
But the fact that Rocco is in there working with you guys on this, who has like dedicated his life to fighting against bad substances coming into this country and things like that, was a huge bill of approval for me. And what he really liked about you guys is exactly what you're going to talk about right now, which is that, and I guess I know about the 7-OH, but the lower volume thing you're talking about, you're going to explain. I don't understand that. So you're going to explain that. But like, you guys could have had a chance to make a fuck ton of money jumping in on this 7-OH thing, which obviously is very not good, versus staying with a simple, safe form that actually might make sense and help people like our veterans to make less money. And you chose that, and to also fight against the 7-OH thing. Is that a fair way of putting it?
It is a very fair and accurate way of putting it.
All right. So now let's explain the difference, and I'll let you kind of take it from there.
Yeah. So when you look at mitragynine, mitragynine, however you want to say it, whether it's a 10th as potent as morphine, a 20th as potent as morphine, it's nowhere near the same category.
Okay.
You could take a shitload of kratom, mitragynine, and not feel anything. It's not like morphine because of the partial opioid agonist relationship versus the full agonistic relationship. Morphine's a full agonist, mitragynine's partial.
Yes.
Where this gets confusing is if we test a live leaf on a tree in Indonesia and it's still living, there's almost 0% 7-hydroxymitragynine present in the leaf.
Almost 0%.
Less than 400 parts per million, even less than that. 7-OH is a metabolite, meaning as mitragynine gets digested, as it breaks down, whether it breaks down because of chemical oxidation from being in the air or because you ingest it, the conversion mechanism is into 7-hydroxymitragynine, 7-OH.
Okay.
And so what I've been advocating for is we've tested 10,000 plus kilos of biomass over the course of our business. We operate in a way that when kratom comes from Indonesia or Thailand, we require that we can see a test from over there before we agree to buy it. When it lands in our facility, it gets quarantined. We then send it out for third-party testing before it can move. We need to validate that it matches the same test.
That's good.
We want to make sure there's no heavy metals, that there's no salmonella, that it has ultra low 7-hydroxymetragine in it. It should fit a very specific profile before it ever moves.
And you have a mathematical range you put on that, obviously.
We do. And the mathematical range is just the proven standards for what kratom is in a naturally occurring plant. Assuming that that comes back and it's validated, that the third party test, it's not us gassing up a test saying, oh, it's good. We send out to a third party. They say, yep, it's in the range. Here's all the certificates of analysis. Then we say, okay, we now can decide what we want to do with that. And it goes into, I'll laughingly call it general population.
But stop here
So
and take a break. And
where this
that was a segment I wanted to show y'all. There's more, but we're already 2 hours in. What do y'all want to do? Do y'all want to keep going, or you want me to? Because we can pick up where we left off next week as well. I mean, I still have. There's still lots more.
Entirely up to you.
Fascinating.
If you
It's
want to.
fascinating, though, isn't it?
It is.
Unfortunately, I've got to get out of here around 4 today, but
Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap up. Yeah, because we've already been here for we just hit the 2 hour mark exactly. So yeah, it's an interesting interview for those that are finding this fascinating. You know, go check it out. Usually when they're long like this, I just listen in pieces. You know, I just listen to a little bit and I'll pick it back up later and just, you know. But Ryan is super bright. He is like, he knows all the facts. It's fascinating. So yeah, we'll pick up next week because the next segment I have is actually like 14 minutes long or 15 minutes long. So yeah, we'll do it next week.
And just to keep all those numbers in his head and
right. That's the thing. It's like I'm watching this going, he knows all these details, but he's been in the business a while. He's the CEO of the company. One of the things he talks about later on, and we already know this about him because we've had him on talking about it, on Diversified, I'll show it real quick before we go. On Diversified Botanics on their website, they have live webcams of the manufacturing plant. Now, it's a Saturday, so I don't think there's anything live going, but the cameras are on. They're on 24/7.
But that's amazing. Yeah.
It really is.
When we discovered this, for like a week straight, I was watching the webcams. I was watching them pack Kr8tom. It's fun to watch. I mean, you're like up in the corner from a camera view watching. And he's very proud of that. He says this is the only company that does this. He said nobody else has done this. Wouldn't it be great for transparency if they all did this? It'd be amazing because we as consumers would like it makes me want to go buy their Kr8tom powder now after seeing this. Let me show you because it's crazy cool. So just go to Diversified Botanics. They have a link up here called Transparency. Let me show you real quick. When you go to Transparency, they got all the 24/7 live video feed, got full transparency on their products, the COAs, certificate of analysis. So you come over here to the live feed. And even though it's a Saturday and there's nothing going on, but the cameras are still on. You just don't see the activity. But look at all these webcams they have. So if you go on a weekday, they're in Utah on Central Time. So
that's full transparency.
100%. So I would definitely go on a weekday. Sometimes I didn't see it's been a while since I've done it, but I noticed that I was usually catching them live in these manufacturing areas, usually on a weekday, like from late morning to early afternoon is when I would catch. Sometimes it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's a bunch of rooms active at once. Sometimes it's one or two. You can watch them do the cleaning because I mean, they got to keep these rooms cleaned up and it's really, really cool. And a tip, if you're on your computer doing this, you can't make it any bigger. You can't click to just do the one camera and make it bigger. But if you're on your phone, on my iPhone, I'm able to go on this page on the browser on my phone and zoom it up, like pinch up to make it, and I can see a lot bigger, like one of the rooms when they're working. It's fascinating. So wanted to share that. DiversifiedBotanics.com.
4 net carbs. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. 4 net carbs and 19 grams of protein. And they're for anybody watching your weight or trying to lose some.
Cool.
Sorry. I was munching and I thought, well, maybe I would let you guys know that.
What are they?
They're actually they're tortilla child. They're almost like Doritos.
Mm-hmm.
But they're keto. So
they're
full of
okay.
protein and they're low carb. So,
Oh, cool.
you know, it's something, you know, that you can end up having, whereas years ago you couldn't have nothing like this, you know, unless you made it homemade. So,
Right.
but a lot of protein and very low in carbs.
Nice.
Hmm.
Thank you for sharing that.
I
Love all the
feel
healthy
like I interrupted. I'm sorry. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
I'm having problems hitting my button and having it work before I start talking. So
And a couple of times I forgot to unmute myself, so I was mini commenting, but I was muted.
Yeah.
I muted,
Becca, do you need to go ahead and go? It's already 4 o'clock for you. Yeah. Go ahead and go. Go. Well, we're going to just wrap up here.
Yeah, it was good to see you guys. And
Stay warm.
Good to see you
Stay warm and
always.
safe.
you too, Becca.
Yes, definitely. And I'll see you all next weekend.
We'll see you
We'll
next
see you
week.
next week.
We'll see you
Love
on
ya.
TikTok.
Everyone.
We always see you on
Love
TikTok.
you.
That's where I'll see you next.
Yes.
Love your TikTok videos.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right. You know what? I wanted to close out what song I'm going to play today is one that I've forgotten about that I haven't played in a long time. So normally one of our regulars is Living the Kratom Life. I played it last week. Love that song. And I totally forgot about there was another song from that same singer that we used to play as an opener sometimes on here that I haven't listened to in a long time. And so I was listening to it the other day. I'm like, this is still a good song too. So I'm going to play this for the end because it's called Kratom Saves Lives. You'll remember it because I used to play it.
That's what I'm waiting for once it starts. I hope I remember.
I used to open with it a long time ago. And yeah, but great time today. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us.
2 hours does go fast. Really, really fast.
Thank you. It does.
Doesn't feel like we've been doing this for 2 hours.
Mm-mm.
And everybody stay safe and warm where you're at. Hopefully this crazy weather won't last too long and we'll get through it.
Yep, hopefully. If you have any community cats out there, keep them safe and warm and box and straw and because they need it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Get great advice. All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for spending time with us. We'll see y'all soon. Enjoy this song.
Bye, everybody.
Jake was lost, drowning deep in a haze of pills that stole his sleep. The pain was real, but the fight was tough. Prescription bottles were never enough. One day he heard a whisper clear of a leaf that could pull him near. He took the chance, he changed the tide. Now he feels the strength inside. Oh, Kratom saves lives, it gives you hope. When you're sinking, it's the road. From the darkness to the light, Kratom helps you win the fight. Sarah was caught, trapped in the pour, a bottle in hand, but needing more. The nights were long, her hope ran dry until she found a way to fly. She took a sip, not of booze, but a brew that helped her choose. With Kratom's help, she broke the chain. Now she's free from all that pain. Oh, Kratom saves lives, it gives you hope. When you're sinking, it's the road. From the darkness to the light, Kratom helps you win the fight. Tom had needles in his veins, chasing highs that brought more pain. Opiates held him tight in chains, but Kratom came and broke the reins. He found the leaf, he found the way. Now his world's no longer gray. Step by step he took control. Kratom helped him heal his soul. Oh, Kratom saves lives, it gives you hope. When you're sinking, it's the rope. From the darkness to the Kratom helps you win the fight. One by one, they found the key. Kratom's gift, it set them free from pain to peace, from dark to light. Kratom helps you fight the fight. Oh, Kratom saves lives, it gives you hope. When you're sinking, it's the rope. From the darkness to the light, Kratom helps you win the fight.
One by one, they found the key. Kratom's gift could set them free.
From pain to peace, from dark to light, Kratom helps you fight the fight. Oh, Kratom saves lives, it gives you hope. When you're sinking,